Yes, ma'am. I do have the whole entire chapter.
Okay, the whole tissue and the whole fundamental unit of life.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Okay. So, yeah. So in the previous class, we had talked about the epithelial tissue, right, students? Epithelial tissue meaning the most outer, you can say the tissue that forms the covering and the tissue that forms the lining, right? Now we are diving into animal tissues. Okay, this is not plant tissue, right? Animal tissue, epithelial tissue. Now, as I told you in the previous class, that the animal tissues, it has been divided into four types. We have epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscular tissue, and nervous tissue. All of these tissues we have to study in depth. So we saw about the epithelial tissue that they are the covering or they are the protective tissues of our body, and they are the ones that cover the most of the organs and they line the body cavity. Now, what is their characteristic? They are tightly packed. Like one cell is placed, another cell is placed, and there is like no intercellular spaces that are present in between them, right? So they are very tightly packed. Now, because of the exchange of materials to and from the body, the epithelial cells are permeable, right? They have to be permeable because if anything is permeable, then only it will allow the molecules to pass through it, right? For example, all of you know about plasma membrane, right? What is the nature of plasma membrane? Is it permeable?
Yes, ma'am. Semi-permeable.
It's permeable. It's not permeable, it's semi-permeable. Yes, selectively or semi-permeable, meaning it will not allow everything to come inside. It will only allow a certain group of molecules, right? These are tiny technicalities. Everyone must pay attention to these. Okay, this is where you people get stuck on and lose marks. So we shouldn't do that. So yeah. So talking about what was I saying? What was I saying? Permeability. Hmm. So I was talking about the permeability of the plasma membrane. So they are selectively permeable or semi-permeable. Same way, in terms of permeability, if we talk about the epithelial cells, meaning the cells of the epithelial tissue, they are permeable, like alveoli. Everyone knows that alveoli, they are present in the lungs. And see, alveoli is where, like when we take in the oxygen, it goes up until the alveoli, and then from the alveoli, like the oxygen gets diffused into the blood, and the carbon dioxide get diffused into the alveoli, and then it goes out through exhalation, right? So this diffusion, why is it happening or from where is it happening? It is happening because alveoli has a very thin structure. It has a membrane, that is, or it has a layer of epithelial cells, and those epithelial cells make it permeable, and that is the very reason why the molecules or particularly gas like oxygen and carbon dioxide can pass through or to and fro. Now, as I told you in the previous class, these are the list of the various kinds of epithelial tissues that are there in the body. Squamous epithelium, stratified epithelium, cuboidal, columnar, ciliated columnar, glandular, right? So we are going to talk about each one of them right now. Now, when we talk about the squamous, now see, we are going to talk about the type of epithelium. Then we are going to see what is the characteristic feature of that epithelium, like how is it special or what all property does it have. Then we'll talk about where is it present, talking about the location, and wherever it is present, what is the function that it performs. So we're going to see all of these things. Now talking about the squamous epithelium. Now, the property of this particular epithelium is that the cells are large, they are extremely thin and flat. Okay, like the cells are flat, sort of like it forms the basement layer. Okay, squamous epithelium is so fat that so flat, not fat, that it forms a very thin layer. Okay, so this is what the characteristic of squamous epithelium is like. Then When we talk about the location, see students, in all of these tissues, the locations are very, 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 very important. You have to learn the locations because they're like direct questions can be asked, like where is this particular kind of tissue present? For example, where is squamous epithelium present? So you people should know in terms of location. So when we talk about the location, so the first, they are present in the lining of blood vessels. What are blood vessels? Hmm? Give me examples of blood vessels. Students, I'm talking to you. Examples of blood vessels. Do you people have blood vessels in your body? Yes or no?
Some.
Okay, but then what are they? If you don't know the answer, then that means you people don't have the blood vessels. I'm very concerned about you. How are you people alive? No one knows the blood vessels. When I'll tell you the answer, you people will be like, ma'am, we knew this. Say? No one. Have you heard about arteries before? Have you heard about veins before, students? Have you heard about capillaries before? What are they? Hmm? Are they fruits? Are they vegetables? I hope not. They are blood vessels. We have arteries in our body, we have veins in our body, we have capillaries in our body. All of them are collectively known as blood vessels. So, towards the inner layer or the inner parts of the blood vessels, the lining of epithelial tissue is there. Okay, so always remember arteries, veins, capillaries, these are blood vessels. What is the function of artery? Who can tell me?
It
Yes, ma'am.
carries oxygenated blood from the
Hmm,
heart to the body.
very good, exactly. And veins?
They carry deoxygenated blood from the body to
Hmm.
the heart.
What about capillaries?
They are like these small veins, right? They connect the arteries and the veins, like small.
Yeah, see, not small. Capillaries, they are a mesh-like structure, a net-like structure. Okay, like this. So the arteries and the veins, they get connected together at a point, like which becomes a net-like structure, and that is what we call as the capillaries. So no matter whatever the blood vessel is, whether it is arteries, veins, or capillaries, the lining will be made up by the this thing, the squamous epithelium. Then lung alveoli. See, alveoli, they are balloon-like structures that are present in the lung area. Okay, this is the last, you can say, part of the respiratory system. This is where the gases get exchanged. Whenever we take in the oxygen from the environment or the atmosphere, that oxygen goes through our nose, through the windpipe, then it reaches the this thing, trachea, and lastly it would reach the alveoli. And when it will reach the alveoli, it will get diffused into the blood. Now, how many of you have heard about esophagus?
Yes,
Do you people have
ma'am.
esophagus?
Yes,
Everyone
ma'am.
does?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what is the common name of esophagus?
Food pipe.
Ma'am, larynx.
No, dear. Larynx is something else.
Ma'am,
Esophagus is the
larynx.
food pipe.
Miss
Food
food pipe.
Yeah, esophagus is the food pipe. This is the tube-like structure that is present from here till the stomach that transfers the food that you swallow to the stomach, right? So that is esophagus. So esophagus also has the squamous epithelium present in it, right? Towards the lining part. Now the lining of the mouth and the cheek, the whole entire thing inside, like whenever it is a tendency in people that whenever they get nervous, they start biting the inner parts of their mouth. How many of you do that? You start biting your cheek, inner cells of your cheek, or you start biting, you do like this. How many of you do that? Eating the inner parts of yourself. Huh? How many of you are cannibals? So if anyone does that, that means you're eating your squamous epithelium. Your body took a lot of days to make it. So don't ever eat it, right? So that is like the inner lining. Exactly the thing, Sarah, what you're doing, that is the lining of your mouth and your cheek. So that is also made up of squamous epithelium. So you people understand the location of squamous epithelium? You have to remember all of them. Like it's not that you have to write just one, you have to remember every single location. Now talking about the functions. The most important function apart from providing support, like the whole entire purpose of the epithelial tissues in general is to provide support. So support is there, one point, we have that in hand. Apart from that, they are responsible for the transport of substances through a selectively permeable membrane, meaning the plasma membrane, right? The cells of the, like the plasma membrane of the cells, also the permeable structures of the tissue. So the transportation and the protection and transportation. This is the function of the epithelial, the squamous epithelium. Any doubts? Squamous epithelium is clear to every single one here in the class? Very good. Now talking about the stratified squamous epithelium. Now see, stratified. Stratification, you people understand the meaning of stratification? Have you ever heard that word before? Okay, have you studied soil horizon in your biology? No. See, stratification means the presence of layers. Okay, if I say this is stratification, the presence of different layers is known as stratification. Now see, what happens is that in the case of stratified squamous epithelium, it is just like squamous epithelium. But what did I tell you in squamous epithelium? That they were flat, right? They were flat cells, right? Also, the squamous epithelium can also be called as pavement epithelium. Pavement epithelium. Now, when I talk about stratified, meaning layers are present in the squamous epithelium. So stratified squamous epithelium is a modification of squamous epithelium wherein the cells, they are arranged in a pattern of layers. They are present in layers. Layer by layer, cells are arranged. Okay, so that is how the characteristics of stratified squamous epithelium is like. Now talking about where is it present? So it is present as an outer protective covering of all the body surface. Meaning the best example for stratified squamous epithelium will become the skin. It is present everywhere. You people know that the skin is the largest organ, right? Of our body, we have so many organs, out of which skin is the largest organ in our body, right? Which is the largest gland in our body, students? Any idea?
My liver.
Liver. Very good. All right. Now talking about the functions of the stratified squamous epithelium. So it provides protection to the underlying tissues. Like on a day-to-day basis, all of us are exposed to so many infections, isn't it? So many pathogens. You never know. Like we go out, we go to public places, we sit at public places, we use the public transportation, right? We go to schools, we go to colleges, like that. So when you go there, is there anyone who carries a microscope with themselves to see, okay, if this place has some microbe, I won't sit on it? Is there anyone like that? Or let's just say like that is too high of a level. How many of you are in that category who would go to a place wherein there is a seat and you take out sanitizer wipe, and then you'll wipe the seat and then you'll sit on it. How many of you do that? I don't think anyone does, right? Even I don't do that, right? So basically, if we don't do that, it means that we are sitting on a reservoir of germs, right? Germs are everywhere. It is there in the air, it is there on the surfaces we touch. But do we get sick always? No. Why? Because our tissues, they are there to protect us. Our skin is the, you can say, the best barrier to protect us from all sorts of infections, right? So that is the reason why the stratified squamous epithelium, it provides protection to the underlying tissues. So whatever structures are present underneath your skin, all of them are protected with them. Coming on to columnar epithelium. The characteristic of the epithelium lies in the name. Column-like cells. Columnar, right? Column is there. And what do you mean by column? Like this, right? Or whenever, if I ask you to draw columns in your notebook, you would be like this. So columnar epithelium is here. What happens? The cells are column-like. They are tall and pillar-like. You can also say they are column-like, right? So the cells here are tall and they are pillar-like cells. Talking about where they are present. So they are present at the inner lining of stomach and intestine. Okay, so our stomach and our intestine towards the inner part, it has the columnar epithelium present. It does not have the stratified, it does not have the squamous, rather it has the columnar epithelium present towards. Now, what is the function? Because if we are talking about the stomach and the intestine, then the stomach receives the food, it digests the food, the intestine also does that. After the food has been digested, they absorb the nutrients, right? Again, for absorption, permeability is there, right? So, the columnar epithelium in the stomach and in the intestine, what they help in? They help in the absorption of nutrients from the digested food. They help us to get the nutrients. So that is why they are also extremely important. Now talking about the ciliated columnar epithelium. Ciliated columnar epithelium, meaning again, the cells are column-like. The cells are pillar-like and tall. But now what do they have on top of it? Say, unmute yourself and say. Cilia is present, right? Cilia is surrounding the surface. So that kind of epithelium will be called as the ciliated epithelium or ciliated columnar epithelium. Meaning here, the column-like or the tall pillar-like cells possess fine hair-like structures called as cilia. Talking about where is it present? Now, this is the most asked question, not even just in class 9, also in class 11. This is asked the same question. Where is the ciliated columnar epithelium present? So it is present in the inner lining of trachea, inner lining of lungs, basically in the whole entire respiratory system. Now, how many of you have broomed their house? Like, how many of you have used a broom? I hope everyone has once in their lifetime broomed the house, right? Brooming you have done. So when you broom any place, if you broom a certain area of your room or anything, what do? You push it, right? Whatever dust particles or the things that are lying on the floor, you push it in a certain direction, isn't it? And then you carry it till your dustbin or whatever you do that, right? So same brooming motion is performed by the cilia. Okay, cilia does the brooming motion. So it is the jhadu. Okay, it is the jhadu of our respiratory system. What does it do? It does the brooming motion. Don't write this. I am telling you as an example. Okay, don't write it does brooming. So when we talk about brooming in terms of respiratory system, for example, Everyone knows what is the significance of nasal hair. The hair in your nose, they have a significance. You people know what is the significance of it? What is the significance? Tell me.
Can you repeat?
Hmm?
Can you repeat?
Yeah, I was saying, everyone, do you know that what is the significance of the hair that are present in your nose? Is there a significance of it, or it's just there?
Collects the dust particles.
It collects the dust particle, right? That is why we have the gunk collected in our nose. Okay, that is why. Why? Because the air that we are breathing, it's not very clean. Everyone knows that, right? So, with the air or with the oxygen that we're taking, we're not just picking up the oxygen and inhaling it, right? We're inhaling the air as a whole. So, oxygen is also coming in it. Some dust particles that we can't see with naked eye, those are also coming in, but they get trapped with those nasal hair that we have, right? So that is the first thing. It filters the air. So same thing, meaning if, like, let's just say the dust particles are so tiny that it did not get caught up by the nasal hair. So now it will reach the trachea, the windpipe, it will reach the lungs also. So now to remove those particles, what happens is that ciliated epithelium happens to be sending it out. Okay, it helps us to propel the dust out of our respiratory system. Okay, it will help us to remove that dust from the respiratory system. Okay, now in the respiratory tract, the movement of cilia pushes the mucus forward to clear it, right? Just like how while doing the brooming motion, you push the dust towards the dustbin area or towards wherever you're going to pick it up and throw it in the dustbin, right? So that sweeping motion is done by the ciliated epithelium, ciliated columnar epithelium, not just any ciliated epithelium. Okay, so what does it do? In the respiratory tract, the movement of cilia pushes the mucus forward to clear it. Is this clear to everyone? All right. Now, the next epithelium, that is the cuboidal epithelium. Now, the name is only telling us that the epithelium is of which shape? Cube-like, right? Cuboid. Okay, so the cells are cube-shaped cells. Now, where they are present? So, they are present in the lining of kidney tubules as well as the ducts of salivary glands. Now, the lining of kidney tubules, see, our kidney has a proper tube system present in it, right? You people don't know it right now because you haven't studied about it, but it has PCT, DCT, various kinds of tubes are there. Okay, now those tubes have the inner surface surrounded, or you can say the inner layer is the cuboidal epithelium. They are cube-like cells. And this cube-like epithelium, cuboidal epithelium, is also present in the ducts of the salivary glands. Now, what does it do? It helps in the absorption of useful materials from the urine if we are talking about the lining of kidney tubules, right? Because kidney in our body is responsible for the formation of urine, right? It filters the blood and makes the urine. So now while the blood is being filtered, in that also the important components are absorbed back into the body so that we don't waste it. So the lining of kidney tubules, what they do, they help in the absorption of useful materials from the urine. Clear? All right. Then comes the glandular epithelium. Now the glandular epithelium, what happens? It's that, see, you people understand what a gland is? If we have glands in our body, what is the purpose of gland? They secrete stuff, right? They can secrete enzymes, they can secrete hormones. Now what happens? For example, if this is the epithelium, for the formation of gland, the epithelium sort of moves like this. Okay, it gets pinched out towards the inner side. Okay, it gets pinched up, sort of like makes a vesicle like structure like this. and this is the gland. This is how glands are made, right? So the epithelial tissue which folds inwards to form a multicellular gland. Okay, this gland formation happens like that. Where is it present? So it is present in the stomach, intestine, and pancreas, meaning mostly in the digestive area, right? Because the stomach, the intestine, the pancreas, they are associated with digestive glands so that digestion can happen properly. So obviously that kind of a tissue, that is glandular tissue, the tissue that has gland present, or the tissue that makes the gland, that will be present in the stomach, intestine, and pancreas. Now what does it do? Synthesis and secretion of substances at the epithelial surface. It synthesizes and also secretes the secretions, whatever it is, enzyme, hormone, anything. What does it do? At the epithelial surface, it secretes it. So these are the various kinds of glands in the like the epithelial tissues in our body, their characteristics, their location, and their functions. So does anyone have any doubts in any of the examples? Sure? Okay. Now after that we would have the this thing, the connective tissue, which is also really big, you can say, group of tissue that we have to study. They have very specialized activities, but for now the epithelial tissue is clear to everyone. Okay, what is the last thing you people wrote in your notebook? The last line.
And I wrote to this squamous epithelium.
Squamous epithelium or the epithelial tissue ending. You people have written this because of exchange of materials, they are permeable. You have it? Some of you have, some of you haven't. Okay. So you people start writing from here only. Okay. Let's check if anyone like does not have any line from this, then you can note down. And if you do, then just wait when you'll come to the type of tissues. Okay.
No.
Yes, everyone is done.
No. Mother.
Everyone's done?
Yes, miss.
Hmm.
Done, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Everyone's done?
Yes, miss.
All right.
Yes.